And also on the show today, Brent Stafford. He has produced a documentary that looks at the effect of video games on kids. How good can it be? How bad can it be? And then a new chef. So if you're a parent or even just, a citizen of the world, you're no doubt aware of the popularity of video games. I think this past Christmas really capped a record year for the industry. And my next guest is a television producer. He recently documented the effects of video gaming on kids with some startling results.
There's a chainsaw, there's a handgun, there's a super shotgun and the normal shotgun.
7-year-old Stefan Gander is playing Doom, and at his young age, he is extremely susceptible to the desensitization effects of violent gaming. So why do you like the chainsaw so much?
It's so fun to kill everyone with. When you have God mode on it, it's especially really fun.
Really, really fun. So I'd like you to say hello to Brent Stafford. He's the producer of Insert Coin. Hello. The culture of video gameplay, correct?
The culture of video gameplay, that's right.
Yeah, are you a video game junkie?
No, surprisingly not. And that's not really because of anything that's come about of my research. It's just more that I played a lot of video games when I was younger. During the
Pong?
Well, during the Pong phase and the Atari phase, yeah, and all that kind of stuff. So once video games really became the powerful medium that they are for communication now, I'd already sort of surpassed, left it behind.
Right. It got mature.
Supposedly.
That's his master's thesis was this, so it was any excuse to get into an arcade is the way I see it.
Oh, well, it was such a dynamic topic to do, coming from a television background, looking for something to do for my master's thesis instead of doing something more traditionally academic in terms of using print-based medium to talk about an issue. Yes. I wanted to do something with television, and video games are a perfect topic to put on TV.
So I'm interested to know what happened between the Pong game and the Atari, and then all of a sudden it's kill, kill, kill. It didn't used to be that way. The games didn't start out being like blow the next guy away. They started being like competitive tennis, those kind of games. Mm-hmm. Did we get bored or something? What?
Well, yeah, partly. Video games have, their lifespan has been at the exact same time that our entire culture has been accelerating and becoming increasingly more violent in terms of representation in the media. One thing I think everybody should realize is that this sort of fascination we have as a culture with violence is not something that's specific to video games. We've had it throughout our history.
Well, it's like the Colosseum. Some of these games are like the Roman Colosseum.
Absolutely.
Throw those Christians in there.
Yeah, or like Doom, go out, let's shoot and kill as many people as we can. Absolutely. Yeah.
I can't imagine, I don't know what your argument shows particularly, but I can't imagine kids sitting in front of these kill, kill, die, die things for hours at a time can be any good at all.
I would have to agree with you in most respects. There are a lot of positive benefits when it comes to video games, and I can talk about that in a minute. But when it comes to the violent gaming and the most seriously violent games, kids are basically experiencing an intense representation of killing, where they have complete total power, or at least that's the illusion, is that they have the power. And what they're doing is they're going out there and deciding to pull the trigger. They're deciding to kill maybe 1,000 times in a week, spending 40 hours in 2 weeks completely immersed in this play experience that it's extremely violent. So it can be problematic for kids, not all kids, but for kids who may be isolated in their lives already, who have maybe some behavioral problems and so forth. This repeated experience of killing, this intense experience, can definitely cause, some problems.
Do you find that kids know the difference between being on the street and being in a video game, don't they?
They do.
Yes.
They do. But it's still, the problem is that it's a repeated experience of killing.
Right.
Right? And some desensitization happens. Now, certainly by the young man that we saw in my documentary,
He's kind of glazed over, that kid.
Well, yes and no. I mean, I don't. You know, he's a really good kid,
yes.
and you pull any kid away from their video games,
and they hate you.
Well, they hate you, but they're generally a different person when they're in front of the game. So, but yeah, like, I mean, kids are becoming desensitized to violence, and when you look at what happened with the Columbine massacre in Littleton, Colorado, those kids made a videotape, and they named talking about Doom, which is a first-person shooter game, which are arguably one of the most violent games. They even named their guns after characters in Doom. So certainly there's a connection that's happening between troubled kids and the repeated experience of killing in a video game. So
right. What actually is kill rate?
Kill rate is how many kills you rack up
right, I figured
in a play experience, in a gaming session, and you can rack up hundreds of kills in a couple hours. Do you think there'd
be some other way rather than actually killing a humanoid figure? I mean, ducks in a shooting gallery isn't any more charming, in my opinion, but couldn't it just be target practice, or couldn't it be like flying things, or
no, it's not that fun. No, it's humanoids. That's where it is. A lot of game developers who try to get around the violence issue do produce games where you're shooting zombies. They're not really human beings or stuff like that. But the fact is, you want to see things blow up. You need to see the gore. You want to see the head fly off. You want to see the blood splatter against the wall. And these are the games that are being made.
Yuck! I don't want to see blood squirting all over the place. To tell you,
kids do.
Yeah. But kids like yucky things, don't they?
Sure they do.
And when does it stop? I mean, when do kids start to lose interest in video games? Do we even know yet?
I don't think we know yet. And a lot of the really violent games, or at least video game developers will argue that they're being made for adults. Because as kids grow up, and we've certainly seen this now with my generation, I'm 30 years old, and there's a lot of us out there, not myself, but there's a lot of people out there that are still playing video games at my age. They're intense gamers, and they've grown up with video gaming. So all these kids now are going to grow up and be adults, and they're going to play adult video games.
Yes.
Because video games are an extremely fun entertainment, right? They're never going to go away. So there's something so intensely entertaining about them, right? So as we get older, we're going to see more adult games. And so the problem is that game developers want to make games for adults, but then on the other side, there's nothing to be done to keep those games out of the hands of kids.
I suppose so. It's very isolating. It's not like bridge. You know, there's nothing interactive about it.
No, and the argument that the video game industry makes is that it is an extremely interactive form of entertainment. But
it's only interactive with an inanimate object.
Absolutely it is. And what's more important is it's only interactive within a predefined set of parameters. Right? Video games, especially violent games, allow kids to feel extremely powerful, but it's a big illusion because everything they do is within such a narrow focus. It's already been decided for what they can choose by the game developers. And usually that experience is designed to sell in the market. And we have to start looking at video games and the play experience that's created to really understand what they're communicating.
I think it makes you stunned. When I used to be a Tetris fanatic, and I played it until the rocket took off and then I couldn't stand it anymore. But I used to I'd see things dropping in my head all the time. Anyway, stay with me and we'll talk about this some more. More video games.
I can't hear anything. I hear something, but it's hard.
You're just playing the game?
Yeah, I'm just playing the game and I'm like, okay, When I was talking to you, he just beat me so easily because I wasn't like into the game. But now, when I'm into the game, it's so hard to talk.
Yeah. Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me.
Perfect example of what happens to a kid when they play video games.
Yeah.
Perfect example.
It's called the zone.
It's called the zone. Without the zone, you don't have a successful game. The zone is the nirvana of digital gaming. And it's what, totally it is, because when a kid gets into the zone, they become completely immersed into the play experience, and they tune out everything else around them. And
like a bomb could go off.
Oh, totally. Absolutely. Yeah. Parents ask them, go take out the garbage, come down to your homework, they're just gone. They don't hear it. And that's what game developers are trying to create when they create a video game. And they actually call it the ingredients of compulsion. So video games are addictive in a way because they're designed to be addictive. Otherwise, it's not a success. Because if a game doesn't hold a kid for 40 hours straight, the game fails.
Yeah, but who cares? Once they've bought the game, there's no more money to be made by whoever manufactures the game.
That's right. That's why games are pretty expensive, right? And And what you do is when somebody buys a game, what you want to do is keep them into that game experience for a long time, because then they're not playing anybody else's game. And then you've got them for a while, and then hopefully you're cycling through your releases of your software.
New games, and then they'll come back to the next game. Okay, so about the day the Earth cooled about half an hour ago, you said that there were some positive aspects.
Well, video games serve as an indoctrination tool into the information superhighway. Without video games serve as a really good tool for kids to learn what graphics are and what computers can do, and which can inspire them to go into working with computers. And to make video games. The other thing is that we wouldn't have seen our information world that we live in right now without video games, because the desire for faster graphics, more intense realism within video games has pushed the development of computer technology and processing power to where it is today. Video games still are at least 50% of what most computers do for people, or they use them for gaming and stuff on the internet. It's about gaming and stuff like that. So I think what people have to remember when it comes to video games, the most important thing they can take out of what I have to say in terms of my message is that video games are no longer a toy. Okay, they're a communication medium, an extremely powerful communication medium that has usurped the power of television, radio, and film.
Comic books, too.
Everything.
They are sort of this generation's comic books.
They are synergistic. They are the synergistic form of entertainment that can pull in all the power of all the other traditional media.
Right, you can't even compare it to anything else, because it is everything.
It's everything. Right, and it's interactive. It's more than just one way at you, and that's why the violent experience in video games is more problematic than if you experience violence passively when you're watching film or television. It's because you were the one deciding to kill. You are actually making decisions and interacting. It's really tough. And so what does a parent do? Because video games have such a strong hold on our kids, and you have peer groups that are knitted around video gaming. It's an extremely strong aspect of peer relationships. So how do you control gaming in your home without causing problems within the family household? And one of the things that parents have to do is start to monitor their gaming, because the research done out of SFU by Dr. Stephen Klein, who led our research. Who
appears a lot.
Absolutely. His research is fundamental to the video. But what has come out is that parents just simply don't know what their kids are playing. And part of the problem with that...
It keeps them off the street, too.
It's a great babysitter.
The whole... Actually, I'm glad I didn't bring up children. Do you have children?
No.
No. So, if you did, what would you say?
Well, I'd let them play video games, but I'd certainly make sure, I'd monitor what they're playing. It's tough for me to say, because pretty much it's a losing battle. And it's
what a cheerful thought.
It's tough. It's really tough. And it's a catch-22 that's sort of designed by the industry in a way, because the industry takes no responsibility for the violence in games. In Block 4 of Insert Coin, I talked to Nintendo, Ron Bertram.
Block 4.
Block 4. Yeah, I'm the producer.
Yeah.
So he talks about how Nintendo doesn't market to kids, because marketing to kids will say, Nintendo doesn't market to parents, because marketing to parents would say to kids that Nintendo's boring, and they don't want to be boring or perceived as boring. But in Block 5, when I talked to the industry about violence, I know you're loving this, when I talked to them about violence, they put it all on the parent, and they say it's up to the responsible consumer to decide what's right for their kids to play. But if you're not marketing to parents, the whole ethos of a responsible consumer doesn't work.
Do kids have any money?
Well, kids have money. Kids will bug their parents until their parents go and buy them the game.
The little creeps.
That's true.
Go clean up your room, I say.
I'm
an old-fashioned beast.
Well, do you have kids that have gone through video game psychosis?
No, because they're older than you are, and they grew up playing a pinball machine.
Right. Well, pinballs used to cause a lot of problems. I mean, kids. It's funny, because we think it's worse now than it was 20 or 30 years ago, but there were still parents complaining.
There's always something.
Totally.
Yeah. And you're going to sell this movie?
Well,
it's not a movie. It's a documentary.
Movie. Well, I'm really hoping to. So what I'm looking for right now is some completion money to basically just...
Of course you are.
...score the music.
How much do you need? Here, I'll play the piano
about $12,000. You got a checkbook with you?
Yeah, I have a checkbook, but it was just like doing, follow the bouncing check.
Yeah. So I'm looking to sell it. I'm working for a company. I'm partners in a production company called Too Cool Productions, and I
love the name of production company.
Yeah. Well, you have to find something different. Yeah.
Anyway, I appreciate you coming today. Congratulations.
Thanks, Vicki.
Brent Stafford. This film is called Insert Coin, the culture of video gameplay. For more information on the subject, contact Simon Fraser University. They know everything.